And that's 3-0. That's what I'm talking about. Because look at just look at the graphic. Just look at it. Like we're 3-0 in the NFC West, above all the other. Everyone else is 1-2.
Yeah,
Like
those bums.
those bubs. And then we're actually, I think we're currently, as of right now, number one in the NFC with the
Well,
undefeated record.
yeah. I mean,
Hey, I am taking this number. No, just, if we could do this number one,
don't you put air quotes on my 3-0?
don't you air quote me on my 3-0 because we are right now. I am celebrating the fact that we are number one in the NFC West and number one in the NFC. Because I promise you, I did not think we
Some
were going to be here like
somebody in
this.
Arizona is shouting, "Stop the count! Stop the count!"
Yeah, but everyone's everywhere stopped the count, especially that Rams game. But
Should we just
man,
we gotta go. Well, if you wanna hear our thoughts about the Seahawks game, go ahead and catch that video. But let's go right into that Rams game because that was the game to watch. We had Rams versus the 49ers. And if you are a Rams fan, and you were at the game, this is what you saw.
it's just another home game for the 49ers.
It's 100,000 seat away stadium at home for you. Like, what the hell? Like, you'd think this was a Chargers game. Look at how many
Oh
49ers
my
fans there are.
gosh.
And,
That's
I mean, it's
as
not like it's
always.
close, but it's not far. But, it's wild. And NFL fans are
Bad.
next
Too bad
level,
all
man.
of those 49ers fans were disappointed with their second home game.
Yeah. A lot of those 49ers fans are looking like this. They were predicting the 49ers being 4-0 to start the season, and here
And
they
I
are.
know a lot of them were. I know a lot of them were because it's funny, right? This game you had Brock Purdy almost 300, like 292 yards, 3 touchdowns. He only got sacked for 4 yards. That's his only sack, by the way.
These games where Brock Purdy throws the ball a lot, gets a lot of touchdowns, gets a lot of yards, they tend to not win them. And I think that's because they've moved away from their winning formula, which is going through the run. But I think
Yeah.
nothing sums up this game better than this graphic. Like there was no shot in hell that the Rams were ever.
Literally everyone thought the 49ers were going to be 2-1,
But
but alas.
they forgot the fine wine that is Matt Stafford in the fourth quarter.
Oh, the finest
yeah.
of wines because
Bella Ciao.
he literally just woke up and he said, "I'm Matt Stafford. I can bring the Lions from the brink just like how I brought the Rams." And he brought the Rams out with all of the, mind you, with all the injuries that the Rams had, brought them back in the fourth quarter alone.
Yeah, the Rams are battling injuries. I mean, the fact that they don't have Puka Nakua, Tyler Higbee, or Cooper Cup, those are their top three receivers. But a guy by the name of Kyron Williams plays for the Rams. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He does front flips, is what I've heard.
Yes, I mean he helped my fantasy team out very.
Yeah, and
Love him.
he helped prevent any sort of seasonal affective disorder, depression.
Oh man,
that
like
Rams fans could have had because they very well could have been 0-3 to start their season.
oh for sure, and it's weird because like the Rams on their defense and stuff. I can't even give you, Byron Young. He got a sack for them, but otherwise, just at the end of the day, like their defense being their defense, they came through. They actually stopped the offense because it's one of those things that we know that Shanahan has his system with his offensive minded system that like you put anyone in it and it'll still be like be rolling through and getting points, which they did get points. Like, come on, Brock Purdy threw almost 300 yards. Jawan Jennings had 11 receptions for 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's
He
where
lost
all
a
of his
guy. I can't. I
touchdowns.
don't even know who it was. But like that guy doesn't exist anymore. That's
Yo,
how bad.
he almost had 200 yards, and it's like, and you end up with only 24 points because the Rams had 27. They answer
I mean,
back.
Brandon Ayuk, are you there? Like, I mean, he had 5 receptions, 50 yards, but like, if you got Jawan Jennings catching almost 200 yards, like, are you there?
That's crazy, man. Because whoever had Jawan Jennings on fantasy, congratulations. I don't know if you're gonna get another game like this,
Three
but
touchdowns, dude. Like 3 touchdowns, 175. You're talking like at least if you're doing PPR, that's like 40 plus points, bro.
that is 40 plus points. Because just the yards and the receptions alone already put you at 28.5 points.
Yeah,
Because 17.5 for the 175
And
yards.
then,
That's
but
already that's
actually
crazy.
35 and a half, 18 for the Tuds because they're receiving Tuds.
Ooh, someone just said, I'm just gonna start Jennings because I don't know who else to start, and they
Yeah,
won
won
them
that game.
their week in
I,
fantasy,
I
bro.
got plenty of 49ers friends in my circle, and they are very, I guess I'll just put it mildly, upset with Ronnie Bell. He dropped that pass that was kind of like right on the numbers that could have, given them the first down, but instead he dropped it, so the 49ers had to punt it, and then Stafford came back and set up that game-winning field goal.
Yeah, he was Ronnie Bell was drafted like what last season too, so like and he only has one reception for 12 yards. Here's what I'm just saying, like, who you gonna call on when things get tough, right? But oof, not Ronnie
Yeah,
Bell.
and I think to add insult to literal injury, um, the 49ers are dealing with a little bit of an injury bug right here. And with
Yeah, Hargrave.
yeah, they got Dewan Hargrave out here now. Tore his partial tear in his triceps, and likely out for the rest of the season. And
He's really good for their defense too.
I came across this on Twitter as well too, which was Adam Schefter making every 49ers fan even more depressed in a 5 minute span. First off, you see, and to top it off, starting from the bottom, Hargrave tore his tricep, and then a minute later, Brock Purdy has back soreness and now will be considered day to day. I mean, he's still gonna play. And then 4 minutes later, Christian McCaffrey is on his way to Germany to see a specialist regarding his Achilles tendonitis. I mean,
Oh man,
if
yeah,
you
like that's
if you know a 49er fan, call them, make sure they're doing okay.
but not us, we don't
No.
care. Oh man. So yeah, 49ers. I still think they I will at least say for the 49ers, they are still a good team, solid team. Granted, because like, hey, they still put up 3 touchdowns. They can still score. It's just in that fourth quarter, the Rams, they just outmaneuvered them for that win, which, hey, that sets everyone up
I
1-2.
almost outcoached. Like,
Yeah,
like maybe the argument can be made that McVay is the better play caller when it comes down to the line. Maybe Kyle Shanahan calls a better overall script. I don't know.
oh, for sure.
But
Yeah,
whatever wins you games.
yeah, whatever wins you games, because like we said, here's one thing to say about the NFC West. It goes like you obviously you're going to assume 49ers and maybe the Rams because of how they showed last year. But let me tell you something. Divisional games in general are always going to be week to week, man. Because I still remember the age old 49ers versus Seahawks, like at the tail end of the season, that usually decides a lot too. So it always, you never know. It can go either way. And the Rams clearly showed that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that kind of settles that game. But Cardinals had their matchup with the Lions. Kind of a damper compared to what we saw last week from the Cardinals, right? What do you think?
Mhm.
What do you think went wrong for them there?
Their offense showed up too late. Or the offense was there in the beginning. They both like so. For instance, Detroit and Cardinals scored both times in the first quarter, but then of course the Lions scored out in the second quarter, and then you kind of see the Cardinals driving down the field, but they couldn't finish. They couldn't finish the drive. They always get close. They always either drive down, something happens, interception, or a fumble or something, or they don't finish with a touchdown. They always finish because they only have 2 field goals to their 7. The score was 20-13 because toward like actually even before their field goals, it was actually like just 20. It was just like 20-7 or not 20-7. It was 20-7 in the second quarter until they got a field goal, and then it was like a scoreless third quarter, and it was that fourth quarter where it was kind of going the way of the Cardinals, but Kyler Murray had over 200 yards, like 207, a touchdown, interception. He can scramble. He was still scrambling good, getting out and actually running for first downs. He was actually their leading rusher that game, 5 for 45. So the one thing that we can say for the Cardinals is they didn't have a rush game.
Yeah,
James Conner only gave him 17 yards. His longest was a 7-yard run. Trey Benson had 2 carries for 8 yards, and then Kyler Murray 5 for 45 because they were always playing catch up ever since like the first half, right? So Marvin Harrison Jr. is still a solid receiver for them.
he was targeted
Uh,
11 times, so like they're trying to feed him the
yeah,
ball. But
of course.
I think there is a theme here where once you get a team off schedule, certain teams, if once you get them off schedule, it's tough for them to claw back into that game. I think Cardinals
Yep.
kind of showed that this game. I'm not ready to say that that's the be all end all for the Cardinals, but I think
Hmm.
that's something that showed up. But we got to give the Lions credit. They were showing all the confidence in the world, and I think you know which play I'm about to bring up.
Ooh, let me see.
49ers are up 7 on the Rams. Cardinals trailing here. As Goff hits St. Brown.
Oh, nasty.
So
Nasty.
smooth, just so smooth.
And I know the Seahawks are going to be looking at that in particular with any team, honestly. But like, if you're showing plays like that, because they didn't show anything like that. The Lions didn't show anything like that in context before this game,
That is a team that has all the confidence in the world right now.
for sure.
Like you know that meme where it's like that guy, it's from I think Eastbound and Down, where he's like, "I feel 10 feet tall right now and strong as an ox." Who the fuck is this guy? Hey, who the fuck are you? Huh?
That's basically what
Who the fuck are
happened.
you? That's the Lions right now, and you can just imagine Dan. I mean, Dan Campbell isn't a small man, but you can imagine him doing that right now. And I
Oh,
think
of
that
course.
entire city of Detroit feeds off that. And like, who the fuck are you?
No, for sure, man. They did show at the very least one thing about the Cardinals. They have an interesting wide receiving core because besides Marvin Harrison Jr., that's like their number one receiver, like going forward. But Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch had very interesting games in this one. Greg Dortch caught some. Well, it only shows 3 receptions. He only had 3 receptions for 35 yards, but he made some pretty good catches that helped extend like some of their drives, as well as Michael Wilson showing off that 8 for 64. So I think they have a good top three and in this young receiving core of theirs because they got to find somebody to step up. But I think they found their three with this game. I saw a lot, especially when they were trying to come back and stuff. But again, you don't have a run game. Like, come on, James Conner needs to be like your ground and pound like running back that gets you at least 75, 80 plus yards to help complement the passing offense to an extent. But when only your quarterback is making the rushes as he's been doing, I kind of spells trouble. That means like you're relying on Kyler Murray to do everything, which don't get twisted. I'm not saying Kyler Murray can't do everything.
I
It's
mean, he did
just
it in week 2.
he did do it in week 2. It's just one of those things of like I don't think every game is going to come out with a win where you have to rely on the quarterback to do almost everything, especially if you're passing the ball to catch up because there's still going to be a lot of time on the clock. You got to run the ball to burn some of that clock out, which they didn't have much of, right? So
I mean, it does everything for you. It keeps your defense off the field. It,
yeah.
allows you to assert yourself. If you can't do it, I mean, then you're. If you can't do it, you're looking to scheme your game so that you can do it later on in the game. Like passing a run, for example. Let's take a look at what the matchups look like for the NFC next week. So NFC West next week. We'll start off with our Seahawks. If you want to catch that preview, you can catch that preview. We'll have that out for you guys shortly, if not already. We predict kind of a close one with that. I think is fair to say. We don't know which Lions team we'll get. San Francisco, they have the New England Patriots. So,
And I think they should be able to get that game if you can at least. I think the one thing about that type of game for them,
they are playing
all you have to do is pressure.
in
Oh,
New England, to be fair.
okay. But same from what every team has been doing against the Patriots. If you can go after Brissett and make him basically keep him off of his feet and stuff like that, you can win that game. Their defense is stingy, but it's one of those ones where like you can still get a win out of them. I mean, hey, I'm not to like toot our horn, but we won too. I mean, a lot of people, even in the comments, I've seen it on Twitter and stuff, are like, we're frauds. Wait till the Lions and stuff. But it's like you can't hate on a team that's like 3-0 and stuff. Are we saying we're going to be 3-0 and go through wreck the NFL and go to the Super Bowl? No, because I definitely know for a fact I don't know if we have the capability to necessarily stop the Chiefs as of yet. Because I mean, every team you have to say on the NFC side, can your team beat the Chiefs? I'm not saying they can't be beaten, but it's just one of those things, right? So, yeah, that's all I had to just say on that little moment there.
I mean, to wrap that one up, though, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if New England has like a Gerard Mayo, like welcome to the NFL, or welcome to being a head coach moment. I mean, they kind of had that against Bengals. That Bengals game is going live as we speak right now, but it doesn't look so good for the Bengals. So maybe that ended up being kind of a fluke game. Granted, there's still some time left in that one, but anyways, I could see this being a real welcome to the NFL type of thing. Classic Patriots game in Foxborough. Niners or Rams, they have I just had it here. They have one Chicago Bears.
They can get that win because the Chicago Bears with Shane Waldron right now, they're not cooking at all.
I don't think they even know where the kitchen is.
Yeah, especially that we in one of our other videos we definitely showed the little scene where you could just see the whole Colts like defensive line chasing after Caleb Williams because it's just like, is this what your offense is doing, Chicago? So like if you let Chicago win with the Rams, the only thing with the Rams is they have injuries, right? Unless if Chicago gets it together, I think that can still be a game. Otherwise, I think I'm giving that to the Rams to go win.
I think that's fair, even with all the injuries the Rams are facing. I mean, don't get it wrong. Caleb Williams threw the ball 52 times for 363 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks against the Colts. But one guy can't win the team. He didn't have even a semblance, a sniff of a run game. Roshan Johnson had 8 rushes for 30 yards, and DeAndre Swift had 13 for 20. Like he couldn't run the ball. So Caleb Williams, he has a tremendous amount of talent, but that, like you said, that graphic with the entire Bears offensive line laying on the ground, like looking like this, like,
well, there he goes.
Yeah, there he goes. I mean, the fact that you had 4 people on the ground doing that tells you enough. So I think even though Rams, I mean, you don't have Aaron Donald no more, but I think they can get after it on this one.
I will like to say like something about the NFC West teams again, that the Cardinals defense, they do play. I need you to understand, like that game was 20-13. They lost, but you have to also understand for literally the second half, the Lions did not score at all in the second half of that game. They didn't make any more points. So basically it was the Cardinals game to go back and win in that sense. And they just didn't come up, right? Their defense is stingy. I see players like Budda Baker still being Budda Baker.
Go Huskies.
Go Huskies. Kazir White had over 10 total tackles, one of them solo, but Jalen Thompson on their defense. The Cardinals defense, they got some players out there. So that gives me hope for our Seahawks. As long as our defense is stout, we can hold the Lions down to below 25 points.
I wish we didn't have to do this anymore. Like wouldn't it be nice if we could just win a game like confidently, like even against the Dolphins, like we just kept like, here's an interception. You guys want to try to make it interesting? Oh, here's another one. You want to try to make it interesting? Like,
essentially, we were literally shooting ourselves in the foot, giving the ball back to the Dolphins to make that game good. Yet, I do want the confident wins, though. Don't get it twisted. I want the wins where it's like we literally played balls out on both sides, all 3 sides of the ball, including special teams, because the Seahawks special teams hasn't been as great lately. I think that's actually one of the it's one of the brothers coaching the special teams team.
Jay Harbaugh.
Harbaugh.
Jay
It's Harbaugh doing it. Jay himself. So I don't like how we're calling our special team stuff at the moment, because like we're punting the ball and they keep running the ball back on us.
Dude, and the thing is our return game is so bad. Like he keeps, like sometimes I wish he would just like run up to the ball and fair catch it, but he just lets it bounce, and we keep getting pinned in our 10-yard line, man. Like it's tough to. I mean, we've talked about it. Like it's tough getting yards. I mean, consistently when you couple that with all the penalties our offensive line seems to be getting. But yeah, I think it's a good matchup to look out for. The last one we have Arizona. This might be a little bit more interesting. Arizona will be playing the Washington Commanders.
And right now, as we speak, it's the 4th quarter for Commanders and Bengals, and right now it's 31-26 Commanders. So like Commanders are kind of coming, at least putting a statement out there. Even if they were to lose this game with the Bengals, I think they can show that like we can play against y'all. I think so. That's one thing to look out for.
You think they keep it interesting?
I think they will. I hope so. The rest of this, I love chaos. Like I think if you've been following this channel for the past couple of years, I love chaos, and I love it if the Commander is. You would think how the Bills. So right now, Bills and Jaguars won today 47-10. You would think the Bengals did that to the Commanders, but no, it is 31-26. Commanders are leading it. Looks like they're about to kick the ball back to the Bengals. But at the end of the day, though, like, like I said, if they lose the game, cool, but it was a very close game and they actually held the lead. Commanders held the lead for a majority, if not the whole game.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
if we're giving a little bit of a overview of that game, I mean, Jaden Daniels is 20 for 22, 227. Like, it's a tidy game. It's not.
yeah.
He's not like throwing out he's throwing some dimes out there.
Bobby Wagner's out there. You got to also remember calling that defense too with Dan Quinn again, I believe.
Yep, and also I think it's worth calling out too. It looks like Jamar Chase has arrived. 6 receptions, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Welcome back, Chief.
Yeah. I think otherwise, I think the state of the NFL too. Like again, we're number for the Seahawks, so like bringing this all back, we're number 1 in the NFC for now. We're also number 1 in the NFC West for now. We'll see what happens in these next some weeks because now the Seahawks' schedule gets a little bit tougher. But we are now among there's 5 teams right now that are now 3-0, which is the Bills, the Steelers, the Vikings, obviously the Chiefs, and then of course us. Right. And that's really cool because it's weird because and a lot of people are saying the Seahawks are pretenders, but I would even look at the Steelers as pretenders too. If we're pretenders,
the Steelers always get the dumbest. They win games in the dumbest way. Like it's so dumb. Like you can't even say it's rigged. You know what I mean? Like something crazy.
Now they're
happens.
saying Fields is their quarterback that they're behind, and they're running the ball with him now. Like they're doing the read options and stuff like that. It's to the point where I'm like, is Russell Wilson okay, or has he just been that bad in their camp to where now he's still not starting? Because at first he didn't start to calf soreness and stuff.
They keep him on the line as a master motivator. You know how he is. He's just out there doing air huddles and stuff like that with imaginary friends.
And Steelers went into the mode of right now we're kind of winning with Justin Fields. So like if we're just going to keep Justin Fields out there, it's only until Justin Fields starts messing up that's when they're like, okay, here comes Wilson. Because
Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season in his NFL head coaching career. So
he's the most winningest coach, I believe, so far, if I remember correctly.
I wouldn't go that far. There have been a lot of, Belichick
not most winningest out of like that. I'm talking about like consecutive, like most consecutive winning seasons.
Okay,
I definitely would think.
Well, undefeated, right?
Not under, he always has a winning season.
I mean, he's had every season has been that for him since 2005 or something like that.
Yeah, man. And that man doesn't look like a day over 35, or maybe 40. He doesn't
even have any white hair, I think, does he?
Nah, not that I can see. But and then the Vikings have been surprising. Their defense and an efficient and game manager in Sam Darnold has been, helping them in each of their games and who they face so far.
JJ McCarthy, who?
Yeah, it makes you think of how JJ McCarthy will do with that offense too.
This is the perfect situation because at least what I always harp on about is every rookie quarterback should have the opportunity to at least redshirt. I mean, in the sense that you sit that first year, learn the offense, learn the what it's like to throw the ball in the NFL, maybe come in for a blowout win or something like that.
What I think about Bryce Young. I think he just got put out there very early.
Bryce Young so far back. I mean, I didn't have him as my first overall pick. I had CJ Stroud. I mean, there was questions about his ability to call plays and stuff like that, I think. But I still saw the raw fundamentals where I know the NFL has moved into a direction where athleticism has become a lot more pronounced. And you don't have to be that field general like your Drew Brees, your Tom Brady's, your Peyton Manning's, your Phillip Rivers, like those guys were. It's just a different ball game now.
For sure.
But I think they set Bryce Young so far back that he's gonna be like Baker. Like he's gonna have to move before he plays well again.
Yeah, Baker had that too with the Browns before, and obviously Sam Darnold too when he was with who was he with? Not the Jets originally, was he?
Yeah, he was originally drafted by the Jets.
Yeah, and then they moved on from him for Zach Wilson and stuff like that.
Geno Smith, Mark Sanchez. You just wonder
But now it's just working, and then what Justin Jefferson said about him in Vikings, he just said he just needed weapons. That's all he needed. And I'm like, well, I can't deny that because when he came on the Jets, there weren't much in weapons then.
Yeah,
Carolina Panthers.
I think they had Emmanuel Sanders, if you remember him. I don't know. Maybe it was Santonio Holmes.
Yeah, no, not San
It
Antonio
was,
Holmes.
yeah,
It was I forgot who they had, but it wasn't like to the point where like this is they didn't
yeah,
have
no,
I don't think they had
it
Garrett
wasn't a game
Williams.
breaking.
Yeah, they didn't have Garrett
No,
there
that was way
from
before
Ohio
Garrett
State.
Wilson.
Yeah, right. I said Williams, Wilson, but yeah. So he didn't have weapons there. He didn't have weapons at the Panthers either, and he was making it work there. And then now it's working with the Vikings. That's I'm going to give it up to their defense too, but also the fact that Sam Darnold isn't messing it up for you because he's throwing the ball too. Justin, hey, where's Justin Jefferson at, man? You know what? Nothing's been working for me. I have a weapon. Throw it to him. Keep throwing it to him. Same thing with Chiefs can literally be 0-3, and someone actually found a tweet where there's 3 plays for them where they could have had they could actually be 0-3. But I'm gonna let the Chiefs have it right now because if you can always break down a game by 1 play, then that means you were doing something wrong on your team. That's all I have to say because as Seahawks fans, we've had many of those 1-score games where we should have won.
Yeah, and so let's save that for the next bit. As far as the NFC West review goes, anything else for me?
Cardinal, everyone is still fighting hard. It's up in the air right now. I don't know what's going to happen in like let's say the next like 3 to 5 weeks, but
And
every team, just because they're all 1-2 below us, that does not mean the 49ers aren't good. The Cardinals aren't good. Cardinals, I've looked at them differently after their second week game. Not their first week, because the first week was like, okay. Second week they got a one and they got a win and stuff. Even this game with the Lions, they were doing well. Rams, they can come back on you. It's Matt Stafford. He will force a win if he has to. Kyron Williams, really good for them as well. So when we start facing them down the line in our schedule, it's always going to be up in the air. I cannot tell you today where it's like Seahawks are definitely going to win that game in full 100% confidence. So
yeah, and
we'll see what happens.
49ers got I think an easier matchup as well too. But that's why it was so important. Like we were saying, like we could very easily be 2-1, and we don't have that buffer anymore. Like there's only 17
Right.
games in the season. You have to make every week count. And
For
I think
sure.
and I think we're off to a good start. So hopefully we're back here next week talking about the Seahawks being 4-0.
Oh man, if we're 4-0, like at the very least, we get some more credibility under our belt.
Yeah,
We're facing what people are thinking, and analysts and people are thinking are a real team.
Yeah, for sure. And that's all from us here at Miss Reps. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe to the video, and we'll catch you again next time.
Peace.